All right, all right.
Alright.
So,
This is a brand new
Show. Welcome to
show.
Toddcast
Welcome to the
podcast.
Toddcast podcast.
My name is Dow
My name is
Anybody
Val
Jr. I
Anybody
got my
Jr.
girl
I got
Denise
my girl
Open
Denise
and
Open
Omar
and
Williams
Omar
with
Williams
me.
with me.
So for those
So
of
for
y'all
those
who
of y'all
don't
who don't
know,
know,
this is
this is
another
another
podcast
podcast
for us
for us
where we
where we
have
have
our
our
previous
previous
podcast,
podcast,
which
which
we
we
are
are
still
still
doing.
doing.
It's
It's
called the
called the
Frame
Frame
of
of
Mind
Mind
Inc.
Inc.
podcast.
podcast.
And
And
that's
that's
going
going
to
to
be
be
a
a
quarterly
quarterly
podcast.
podcast.
But
But
now
now
we
we
have
have
our
our
new
new
podcast
podcast
called
called
the
the
Toddcast
Toddcast
Sports.
Sports.
And we're
And we're
talking
talking
all
all
things
things
sports.
sports.
From
From
our
our
favorite
favorite
team
teams
to
to
the
the
league,
league,
whether
whether
it
it
be
be
NFL,
NFL,
NBA,
NBA,
MLS,
MLS,
maybe,
maybe,
uh, MLB,
MLB,
maybe
maybe
some
some
tennis,
tennis,
and
and
then
then
maybe
maybe
some
some
things
things
you
you
really
really
don't
don't
know
know
about
about
that
that
happens
happens
on
on
like
like
the
the
old
Ocho
show or
or
ESPN
ESPN
News,
News,
some
some
of
of
these
these
other
other
kind
kind
of
of
weird
weird
sports
sports
that
that
happens.
happens.
But
But
just to
just to
give you
give you
guys an
guys an
overview
overview
of
of
what
what
we're
we're
doing.
doing.
So
So
just to
just to
kind of
kind of
introduce
introduce
ourselves
ourselves
again,
again,
I'm
I'm
Dow
Simbawi
Anybody
by
Jr.
Jr.
And
And
I
I
got
got
my
my
co-host
co-host
here
here
because
because
what
what
we
we
realized
realized
is
is
that
that
we
we
actually
actually
like
like
talking
talking
sports.
sports.
And
And
a
a
lot of
lot of
that
that
went
went
into
into
our
our
previous
previous
podcast,
podcast,
which is
which is
all
all
about
about
positive
positive
mindset.
mindset.
And we
And we
realized
realized
that
that
doing
doing
that
that
here
here
is
is
actually
actually
going
going
to
to
be
be
something that's
something that's
going
going
to
to
speak to the
speak to the
masses.
masses.
So I'm
So
gonna
I'm
stop
gonna stop
talking.
talking.
I'm gonna
I'm
let
gonna let
Owen
O and
Denise jump
Denise
in
jump in
here and
here
kind
and
of
kind
say
of say
what
what
it
it
is
is
they
they
want
want
to
to
say
say
about
about
the
the
new
new
podcast
podcast
sports.
sports.
Yeah.
What you got?
Well, I'm
Well, I'm
O.
O.
I
They
mean
call me
O.
O.
I'm
I'm
excited for
excited
this
for this
new
new
journey on this
journey on this
sports
sports
podcast. We've
podcast.
been
We've been
giving
giving
you
you
another
another
podcast with
podcast
the
with the
Frame of
Frame of
Mind
Mind
Inc.
Inc.
Um, it was
It was
amazing,
amazing,
it's
and
not
it's not
over,
over.
but we
But
are
we are
here
here
now
now
for our
for our
podcast.
podcast.
Talking
Talking
sports
sports
is
is
going to
going to
force me
force me
to
to
look at
look at
more than
more
just
than
the
just the
Eagles,
Eagles,
Phillies,
Phillies,
Sixers,
Sixers,
and
and
Flyers,
Flyers,
right?
right?
I'm gonna have
I'm
to
gonna have to
learn
learn
some
some
Ocho
Ocho
sports
sports
like
like
frisbee,
frisbee,
and
and
I don't
I
know if
don't know
you've
if you've
seen the
seen the
Ocho, but
Ocho,
they
but they
have
have
things
things
like
like
slippery
slippery
step
step
climbing.
climbing.
Oh
Oh
yes.
yeah, I seen that.
I'm not
I'm not
sure we're
sure
going
we're
to
going to
cover
cover
that.
that, but
Why
why
not,
not,
right?
right?
You,
You,
nobody's
nobody's
covering that
covering that
now
now
on
on
the
the
podcast,
podcast,
so
so
we'll
we'll
figure
figure
it
it
out.
out. There you
Oh,
go.
So
So
I'm
I'm
excited.
excited.
I'm
I'm
here with
here
my
with my
co-hosts.
co-host.
They
They
have
have
a
a
lot of
lot of
insight
insight
when it
when it
comes to
comes to
sports.
sports.
We
We
got our
got a
girl
girl
D
D
Nice. We
Nice.
got
We
my
got my
man
man
Zimbabwe,
Zimbabwe,
TK
TK
for
for
short,
short,
right?
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm
I'm
excited to
excited to
get
get
started.
started.
All right,
All right,
Denise, what
Denise,
you
what you
got?
got?
well, I'm D Nice. Denise, everyone calls me
Be
D
nice.
Nice. Just bringing, I think, also not just sports, but a female's perspective on sports.
There
Because
you go.
sometimes, it's a male dominated arena. So sometimes, you just need that female aspect. So that's why you have me here. We'll talk Eagles, of course, go Birds, talk the Yankees, Mets, Phillies, whatever it may be. So just stay tuned. Might hear some crazy things, some funny things, but you're gonna hear the real deal here on Talkcast Sports.
And
And
listen,
listen,
one
one
thing
thing
that
that we
kind of
kind of
pride
pride
ourselves
ourselves
on is
on is
that we
that we
talk
talk
from the
from the
fans.
fans' perspective.
Yep.
So,
So,
number
number
one,
one,
we're
we're
not
not
sports
sports
analysts.
analysts.
We're
We're
not
not
sports
sports
journalists.
journalists.
So
So we're not here
trying to
trying to
do
do
their
their
job
job
for
for
them.
them.
But we
But
have
we have
something
something
to
to
say.
say,
We
and
have
we
a
have a
lot
lot
to
to
say.
say. And
So
so
we
we
do have
do
our
have our
expertise in
expertise in
our
our
own,
own,
right
right that
we're
we're
in.
in.
But
But
at
at
the
the
same
same
time,
time,
you know,
again,
we're
we're
not
not
sports
sports
analysts
analysts
or
or
journalists.
journalists,
But we
but we
got a
got
lot.
a lot to say.
And
And
so,
so,
with
with
that
that
said,
said,
we're
we're
going to
going to
jump
jump
right
right
into
into
our
our
first
first
topic
topic
of
of
the
the
day.
day.
And
And
NFL
NFL
has
has
been
been
in
in
effect
effect
for
for
about,
about,
what
what
is
is
it,
it,
4
4
weeks
weeks
now?
now? Yeah.
Yep.
So
Four.
4 weeks now.
And
And
listen,
listen, we actually tried to get the podcast started
before
before
the
the
season
season
started.
started, and
We
we
had
had
some
some
technical
technical
difficulties
difficulties
before
before
doing
doing
that.
that.
But
But
we're
now
now
we're
good.
good.
We're
We're
in,
in,
ready to
ready to
rock
rock
and
and
roll.
roll.
And so
And
we're
so we'll
starting
start
with
with
NFL
NFL
season
season
goes
goes
and
and
woes.
woes.
And
And
what
what
that
that
means
means
is,
is,
well,
well,
who's
who's
going
going
and
and
moving
moving
in
in
the
the
NFL
NFL
and
and
who's
who's
woeing
woeing
in
in
the
the
NFL
NFL
right
right
now.
now.
So
So
I'm
I'm
going to
gonna
give
give
my
my
first
first
NFL
NFL
season
season
go.
go,
and
I'm
I'm
gonna say
saying
the Detroit Lions
on
on the NFL season go.
after
After going 0-1 in their first game
against
against Green Bay, which they actually looked very inferior against Green Bay, they have won 4 straight, including beating my Cincinnati Bengals, who are Joe Burrow-less. We'll talk about that later. But if you don't know, I am a Bengals fan. I've been a Bengals fan for quite some time. I did fall off the wagon for a little bit there, and I got back on. Not the fan wagon, but I fell off the Bengals wagon for a while because we stunk for a while.
Yep.
We'll
Come back to that though.
You don't have to.
You don't have to amen on that. You don't amen on that. Okay.
We'll come back to that. The Detroit Lions are balling right
now,
and I'm actually pulling for them
to get the Super Bowl this year
because I actually believe, and if I'm
correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the Browns
and
and the Lions are the only two teams who have not been to a Super Bowl. I believe. If that's not correct. You look that up and see.
Okay.
But I know both those teams have not been to the Super Bowl ever. So Detroit's looking like they're the real deal right now. They're my NFL season go. My NFL season woe right now is probably going to be, I say the Raiders.
Okay.
I just can't say enough about that. I don't have much to say about it, but they're my NFL season woe right now. I thought they would be a little better than what they are, but they're just not playing well. They look like they're kind of out of sync. I'm just not sure what's going on over there. We'll talk about that a little later too as well. But NFL season go, Detroit Lions, NFL season woe, the Raiders. So I'll let you guys go. What is your NFL season go and woe so far?
I'll say my goal would be the Indianapolis Colts.
Mm.
They got Danny Dimes over there from the Giants. It looked like his career was over, but he got a fresh start with a new coach. Guy used to be here. He coached Jalen Hurts pretty well, and now he has Danny Dimes, and he got Dimes throwing dimes. That would be my goal, and my woe would be the Jets. The coach I was rooting for, Aaron Glenn, was rooting for him. He was at Detroit, was defense coordinator there. He had a good defense. He goes to get the head coaching job, and it's not looking too good for him right now. He's 0-5, and he might be one and done. So they're my woes, but I feel like you can close your eyes and set your timer to the Jets being a woe every year. So,
Oh man.
so yeah, my goal is the Indianapolis Colts, and my woe would be the Jets,
Okay.
the 0-5 Jets.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna bring it into the home team for the go with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Let's go.
You know, we had a rough, Sunday this past week against the Broncos. Shout out to AJ Brown for holding it down, even though they could have ran him the ball a little more. So Sirianni, if you ever watch this, come talk to me. But anyway, definitely the Eagles. I think with a new, some new defense players in there, and just the motivation this year is just different. So I think they're definitely going to be a go this season. Hopefully they can do another one. I'm not going to speak too much on it, but hopefully we can get it to the Super Bowl. I'll be happy, but I think we're going to be a go. As far as a woe, I have to agree with the Jets. I was rooting for them this past couple games because family of mine is Jets fans, but they're going to be a woe. They're going to be a woe.
All right, so we got two woes for the Jets. I got the Raiders. I wasn't going to go Jets. I figured I would pick a different team just to, make it interesting. But, it is kind of sad for the Jets because I kind of thought that they would be decent this year. And with their defense being as it was like the past two seasons, I thought they could kind of capitalize off of that. I have to honestly say, this is nothing against Justin Fields, but I'm not a Justin Fields believer, unfortunately. My own take on that, I'm not sure what is missing, but in my own mind, this is no disrespect to him. This is just me doing the eye test from the fan perspective. There may be some lack of studying going on there.
Yes.
And so, not being able to read the defense or read what's being given to you. Hold on to the ball too long. Not taking off when you should. And again, I don't know how he's being coached. But I also know, too, if you're kind of given the go-ahead to do what needs to be done, I would take a page out of Lamar Jackson's book and go when you need to and throw when you need to. But if there's a lack of studying going on there, then that's going to be kind of hard to do. So, again, my eye test, again, no disrespect to him or the coaches on the Jets team, but it just looks like there's just a lack of study going on from the perspective of the quarterback's position based on what I'm seeing. So,
I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes. So, and then as far as the Raiders go, I don't know. It's possible the Raiders might need Shador Sanders.
Oh boy.
That's our next topic.
Oh boy.
Will Shador Sanders stay in Cleveland? And my answer is probably not. Probably not. He'll be there this year. I'm not sure what next year looks like. He'll eventually probably get some playing time, but we'll see how things are going with the current quarterback. And everyone knew that Joe Flacco wasn't going to be the go-to guy, but he was a veteran. He's a guy that helped them out last year. He's also a veteran that can teach these guys what the game is like if they're teachable, to listen to what he has to say. So, I mean, we'll see. But overall, I can't say Shador's going to the Raiders, but they could probably use him. But someone else here thinks that Shador Sanders might be going to the Raiders. So that person, you can speak now or forever hold your peace.
Hey, I'm all for rebuilding. I'm all for, starting fresh. You might have started somewhere and it's not for you. But hey, what I say is send him to the Raiders. Tell his brother Shiloh. Send Shiloh. I would say take Travis Hunter, but I don't think they're letting him go.
I think that's where he is.
Yeah, he's good. He's a man apart. But rebuild around them and see what they can do with that. I'm not saying Shador, he's not the worst player, but he has the talent. He just needs to hone in on his gifts. And now that he's away from his dad, yes, we know dads, they mean well for their kids, but at the same time, they can also coddle their kids and hurt their destiny sometimes. And they don't mean it in a bad way, but now he's away from his dad, Dion. So now this is his time to really hey, I'm away from my pops. Let me really hone in on the skills that I can help me develop. All the NIL money, all the money I'm making in NFL, invest it back into myself and see how I can build, whether it be the Raiders or whatever team he goes to next. So, Shador Sanders, nah, you got to leave Cleveland. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Fresh start.
What you think, Al?
Yeah, look, I'm like this. This might be an unpopular opinion. The book is still out on Shador. I don't know how good he is.
Yeah.
Right. He is he was a 5th round pick, which probably should have been like a 3rd round pick. But I'll say this for the Raiders. The NFL is a business. It's a big business. And they want to make a lot of money. So I do believe if you take that Shador, whatever that thing is, you take Shador, you get these ticket sales because people want to see. You get jersey sales, people showing up to games. It'll put a little life back into the Raiders. That show, it used to be the LA Raiders. Now we're the Vegas Raiders. We get some showtime back, not to take from the Lakers, but get some showtime back in Vegas. Get some showtime back in the Raiders. I think it will be a great idea. I think you give this man a shot. He thinks he's a starter. He said he can't find too much quarterback play better than his that's better. But he said quarterback play is bad in the league right now. So he said that out of his own mouth. Give this man a chance. Give his brother a chance. And then I would like to see Dion get a shot. Why not? Right? I don't know what his contract is, but let's get Dion. Let's give my man a shot. Coach his son again. I know you said he's leaving his dad, but you know what? Looks like those two are successful together. Let's get the band back together.
I have to respectfully disagree.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if Tom Brady has any influence in that, I don't see
Don't
that.
do it.
I don't think Dion is.
Okay.
Listen, I mean, it's a great point.
call.
It's definitely a great point.
Okay.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not knocking it. I just,
Right.
if I were Tom Brady or that the Raiders organization, I'd be like, I don't think so. That doesn't seem like the best marriage for me. I would much rather have Shador Sanders without Dion, just for the simple fact of, listen, let's make one thing very clear. Shador is not his father. All right, let's make that very clear.
Yes.
He's not his father. His father came in the league very high and came in with a very high level of play. Not that Shador Sanders doesn't have a high level of play, but it's not that level of play. And let's be honest too, Shador has a lot still to prove as a professional player
Right.
because you're coming out of college, you played for your father, a lot of hype behind it. And let's be honest, right now, Colorado looks, they're struggling a lot, right? It's not against anything against Deion about that, but the talent is not as it was before. So we got to look at that perspective as well. And let's be honest, too, there was probably a good amount of nepotism going on.
For sure.
Right? And listen, we're not mad at that,
Sure.
but Deion did what he had to do to get his sons in the league. Not that they wouldn't be there, but to kind of push them up further to get to where they need to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't work out for Shador as much. We won't talk about that story today. I'll say that for another time. But again, I personally, I wouldn't want him to go to Baltimore to be under Lamar Jackson. Though, if he did, when Lamar was done, he would be the next guy in line. Now, I'm sure Shador doesn't want to wait that long, and I don't blame him. But if you're going to have someone to glean from, or actually even be a mentor to, Lamar Jackson would be a great guy to talk to because he's been there and done that, and he's still doing it at a high level. Now, again, Lamar Jackson has his own woes. Everyone has their thing, right? But when it comes to playing that quarterback position at that level, also being, let's just be honest, an African American playing the quarterback position, Lamar has experience in that, right? So, last thing I'll say about Shador before we move on, if anyone has anything to say, is that I would like to see his maturity level come up.
Yes.
That interview we had this past week, or which I think was this past week, where or was it last week? It was last week. And he was asked about being playing and all that. And I'm watching the video, and I'm hearing the questions being asked, and he's moving, and his mouth is moving. I'm like, is the microphone bad? I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I realized he's not speaking.
Right.
And I'm like, no, man, like, you can't do that. I'm like, you at least have to speak, say something. And listen, this is more of a PR move. Like, okay, we got to actually get him to say the things that he should say. He's still young, 23 years old, coming to the league. But this is, too, an area where I think I'm not going to say he's being set up for failure, but there is a lack of showing him what to do, how to do, what to say. And again, you don't want to go out there and lie to people, but there is a way to answer questions that's a professional way, and also allows people to not take your words and turn them against you. And I think he took the route of not saying anything, but mimic it so that his words weren't turned against him.
Well,
right?
And not to cut you off, but just to give context to it, Rex Ryan told him to shut up and just play. So he calls himself, answering that, like he was told to shut up, so I'm going to shut up. Now, I don't make it right. I'm just saying, I'm just giving context of why he was in the locker room.
Right. And I get that. Listen, I know Rex Ryan said shut up and play, but again, like, from a PR perspective, it's like, all right, so what does that mean, Shador?
Right.
It means blah, 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 right? And it's kind of like, I felt like no one just really kind of took him aside and said, okay, no, the questions are coming. This is how we want to answer these questions. So he needs to be set up for success from an interview perspective, talking to the media. Because let's be honest, again, his father, Deion, he was flamboyant, he was flashy, but it's a different era. At the same time, Deion could talk it, and Deion could back it up.
Right.
So it was a different kind of, so he has his father's, his aura, right? But it's also, at the same time, he's not playing at his father's level and talent that he was when he came into the league. And so, again, I'm not going to put anything on Deion for that because, number one, Deion's a father. So I'm not going to talk against that, right? But also understanding he's instilled a confidence in his sons to know that, hey, I am this good. I have room to improve, but I know I'm definitely not in the middle or bottom pile of NFL players. So anything else anyone want to speak to that?
I think that just goes back to the point of not being the helicopter parent, because sometimes you just kind of have to let your kid figure things out. Because if you're going to be there to talk for your kid, defend your kid, yes, you're going to protect your kid, but at the same time, like, your kid has to grow up and figure these things out for themselves. And so whether he does good or bad in the game, Shador, it's kind of like, well, my dad's gonna defend me in a way. My dad's gonna speak up for me. My dad's my PR. My dad, my dad, my dad. And at the end of the day, like, you're an adult in the NFL league now. You're in the big leagues. Like, I can't go to a podium and say to the press, my dad has told me to say, because then you're looking at people. They're gonna look at him like, well, what do you say, Shador? What are you thinking, Shador? Not what does Dion say for you, but what are you thinking? And then definitely the PR training needs to start. If it didn't already, it needs to start. And if it's starting, they need to fire whoever the PR person is for him and find the person. So, yeah.
Anything else you got on that?
No, we're good. We covered it, man. That was good stuff.
All right, cool. Let's move on to our next topic. And again, we're going to kind of shoot straight through on this one because, it's our first one. We're just going to give you a little taste of what we're going to talk about. We're going to go to my team, Cincinnati Bengals. And we're going to talk about Joe Burrow. Joe Cool, and question is can Joe Burrow stay healthy? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Because as bad of a dude as Joe Burrow is, and Joe Burrow is he's a bad dude.
Bad meaning good.
He has yet to finish an entire season.
Yep.
Whether he gets hurt halfway through, halfway after, gets hurt in the middle, or the beginning. And so the argument that I made before on our previous podcast is that whenever Joe Burrow played almost the entire season, they went to an AFC Championship game into Super Bowl. So we know what he's capable of doing. We know what the team's capable of doing. But then, since then, with the exception of, I would say, last year, because last year was, I think, was an anomaly. He played the majority of the season, but they started off slow. And then halfway through, they got better. And then they won the last 5 games of the season in December. And so the question is, can Joe Burrow stay healthy? I'm not sure. And I'm going to say this here on the show because I know this is my team, but I don't know if Joe Burrow staying in Cincy is the best thing.
Ooh.
I take.
Now, I say this because if you can't stay healthy, you can't help the team win.
It's true.
So, and from a health standpoint, is Joe Burrow losing value? From a health standpoint, his performance, absolutely not.
Right.
From a health standpoint, is he losing value? And if that's the case, how much more does Joe have in the tank from a health standpoint to help the Bengals become who they should be or supposed to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm no way in no shape saying that Joe Burrow should be traded from the Bengals, but I think, and again, the Bengals organization is not the best organization. All right, we don't pay people what they should, even though Joe Burrow did get Chase, Higgins, and Hendrickson their money by speaking up for them, right? But now that that's happened, he's now gotten hurt. They started out 2-0 because the questions are, can the Bengals win in September? Well, they finally did, and now Joe Burrow's hurt. They started out 2-0. Now we're 2-3, lost 2 straight.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if Joe can stay healthy. My questions are more of why is he so fragile? That's my question. And again, offensive line is not that great, but if you look at Joe Burrow's injuries, most of them happen outside of contact. So anyway, what do you guys have to say?
I'll say this. So the question is, can Joe Burrow stay healthy? This is now, 3 years straight?
Yep.
That he's been hurt. So I gotta say, if he looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, probably a duck. And I believe that this man is, I won't call him Mr. Glass, because his line, again, he's the most sacked quarterback in the NFL since he's been playing. So, and he's one of the best quarterbacks. I gotta give him his props. He's one of the best when he got time, and he can get rid of that ball. I liked him since college, but he cannot stay on the field. They say the best ability is his availability. If you can't stay on the field, you can't help out.
Right.
I mean, he's too good to hold the clipboard. I don't even know how much you can pour into younger players from the sidelines. I'm not sure, but he got to stay on the field. And to answer the question, I don't believe he can stay healthy. It's just one nick after the next. And as time goes on, this is his 6th season. Time goes on, you get older, little things. Your body's not taking the things like it used to take them, so you're gonna get hurt some more. And it's just, you got to get rid of them. And I'm surprised to hear my man say,
Listen, man,
truth is truth. You can get good value right now too. I think you can get rid of, you can get him, you can get somebody for him. So, Bengals, if you're listening, you might want to think about trading Joe Burrow. He still has value, but he has to stay on the field. If he doesn't, he's their only hope to get a Super Bowl. He was there. He was in the mix. He's been in the mix for the last maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
In the mix. So he's right there. Stay on the field and they'll have a chance. So that's my take. I don't think he'll stay healthy.
I think when he dyed his hair the blonde, I think that he helped him a little bit because then he had that little fire back in on his swag.
Yeah.
But I think the saying in a situation where they don't pay you all this money to sit on the bench, so it's like, what are you doing? He's gotta go. Sorry, but you can't stay healthy, and it's like, what's your outside influence like outside off the field? What are you doing at home? What are you doing in off season? What are you doing throughout the off season to prepare for? Because technically, if you think about it, like professional football, you're technically in season all the time. Because like you can't just sit down for 3 months. Oh, I'm off season. I didn't make it to the Super Bowl. I'm off. And then you come back and it's like, oh, I'm cramping. I'm getting injured. It's like those off season workouts help just as much as the in season workouts help. So that's why my question is what is he doing in the off season, and who's his influence? Is it, hopefully it's not females, hopefully he's not getting caught up in other things, because we've seen so many athletes do that and it's ruined their career. So if I were them, I would say goodbye, Burrow, because I can't pay you to sit on the bench. I'm trying to win a Super Bowl.
I gotta open up a can, man. I can't close now. You know what I mean? But I really thought about that, man. I'm like, man, like, what if his value is dropping because of his health? You know what I mean? So that's something I don't want to think about. But you got to really look at, again, said, this is a business. So while he's probably their best option to win a Super Bowl, if you can't stay healthy, that's a problem. That's a problem.
Tom Brady.
So I'm hoping going into, well, again, he can still come back this season. No, he's out, I think, 3 to 5 weeks. That's a lot of time to miss. But if you look at Joe Burrow's history in December, he's pretty good in December. Like his record in December, he very rarely loses in December, January. And that includes playoffs. You know, outside of the Super Bowl they lost, it's very seldom that he loses in December and January. So it was always the start for them. And again, that's not necessarily on Joe Burrow. That also goes on coaching as well. So I think, in my own opinion, I could be wrong, after this season, it's possible that Zach Taylor might get fired. Because right now, all the talent that offense has and all the talent, again, the defense is another story, but the defense has always been a question mark outside of the Super Bowl year. In the year prior to that, when they were in it, the defense has always been a question mark for them.
Right.
And so last year, Joe Burrow had a historic season, the most touchdowns thrown, the most yards thrown for, and you missed the playoffs. Not to mention that you guys were averaging about 30 points a game, and you were still losing games. So clearly the defense is the issue, but at the same time, we need Joe Burrow on the field to give us the opportunities. And I hate to say that because when it comes down to one guy, it really puts you into a bind.
Yeah.
When you got horses like Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and then you got the young core of the series that they have, like they have an offense. Offensive line needs some work, but there's still enough there to get it done. So we'll see what happens. Enough on the Bengals. Let's move to our last topic before we kind of do some miscellaneous stuff. The Eagles, which is what my two co-hosts love. Eagles and AJ Brown. So, as you know, and you're a sports watcher, you saw that there was some turmoil the game before with the Eagles with AJ Brown and some things that were said and his body language on the field and yada yada yada. Though they still won the game, right? And so I'm the kind of person that I'll take a win, but I also want to make sure that I'm not accepting in a loss and a win, but I wouldn't accept in a loss.
Okay.
Meaning that, hey, I understand we won the game, but the way we won it and how we acted, like that can't happen again.
Yeah.
Because then when we lose, that's going to blow up. And so, and again, only the Eagles locker room really knows what's going on. But, you know, from the fans' perspective, there are things that may be going on that are more than meets the eye. And so I'm going to allow the Eagles fans to give their take on this because, as we all know, the Broncos, you know, beat the Eagles yesterday. And they had the opportunity to win. They were up 17-3. And then Broncos scored twice. Then on the second score, they went for a 2-point conversion, which I thought was a big gangster. But, you know, Sean Payton, he does gangster things. You know what I mean? He takes risks. So kudos for him because they didn't get it. And they were down 17-16. That kind of changes the complexion of the game. But if you look at it, the Broncos shouldn't have scored that second touchdown. It came way too easy. And that was a question mark for me, like, man, that scored so easily. So, my Eagles fans, what do you have to say about the Eagles and AJ Brown? And if you want to talk about the game yesterday, you can do that too if you want to. So.
There were so many plays where AJ Brown was wide open, and I'm like, it's not like you could miss him because he's right there, number 11, and he's tall enough that you can see him from miles away. And he was open, wide open, and we didn't pass him the ball. So everything that AJ Brown talked about of his being upset, of his frustration, not only with our offensive coordinator, but some of our coaches, I 100% support him because you can't pay me all this money and you know I have the talent coming from a team that I was barely winning games and you trade me to a great team like a Super Bowl winning team like the Philadelphia Eagles and I'm here helping you bring the wins and he's never been conceited about it. To me, he's never been. But I'm helping you bring these wins to the team and then in a fifth game of the season, now you want to kind of like act like I'm invincible or I'm not there, that's what's going to start the whole tearing the team apart where you see it on other teams in the NFL right now where they're not working together and it's tearing them apart. And as the Eagles offense and defense, we're not utilizing him enough. And I think he has every right to be frustrated. He has every right to say, look, maybe I should shop around for other options. Maybe I should, take a step back. Maybe I shouldn't be giving it the amount of thought and passion that I've been doing. And if I were AJ Brown, I would understand because at the same time, like, I'm one of your biggest assets to the team. And I'm not saying that in a conceited way, but everyone can see from in the NFL, outside the NFL, fans, everyone can see that AJ Brown is one of the biggest assets to the Philadelphia Eagles. Since he's stepped on the field till now, he's been one of the biggest assets. And fire our offensive coordinator. I'm so sorry, but fire him. And I'm over like some of these plays he's called and leaving Hurts out there in the middle of nowhere. And Hurts is like, where do I throw the ball to? And fans are getting on Hurts. When you look at it, it's kind of like, well, what is our offensive coordinator doing? We're paying him all this money, and you can't basically either protect Hurts, protect our offense, and then you have Saquon, who we barely utilized this last game for.
That's true.
And we pay him this money, and we just took him from a team that was what? Probably 0-0. I know they had more wins than that, but I'm just saying 0-0. And we couldn't even utilize him last game for what reason? For our offensive coordinator. And I'm done. Thank you.
So before you go, I'm just going to say this. So as we move forward with our sports talk, this is the kind of stuff Denise is going to give y'all. So I'm just letting you know for the females out there, she got y'all.
Yeah,
all right, she's going to give y'all some hot takes, especially when it comes to the Eagles. But she knows her sports stuff, so this is the hot stuff she's going to give y'all. All right, real quick before you go, I do want to say this as far as Eagles go, and you guys are the fans, you know the ins and outs. This could very well be Super Bowl woes.
Yep.
So you just won Super Bowl.
Yep.
It's a long season.
Mhm.
You come back, you're defending Super Bowl champions. Expectations are high. And what I got from this, and before I let O go,
Mhm.
I was watching the sideline after the Eagles' last drive, and there were a lot of heads that were hung.
Mhm.
Yep.
And I was like, they're under pressure
Mhm.
to perform and keep performing to be the Eagles of last year.
Right.
And I'm like, as a former sports guy, I played basketball, like I know what that feels like. And so I'm looking, I'm like, these guys are playing under pressure to perform and still at the pressure of being undefeated. Because outside of the Bills and them, they were the last two undefeated. Eagles went down first, the Bills went down to New England last night, so there's no more undefeated teams. And I feel as though they were playing with the pressure of being undefeated. Because make no mistake about it, the Denver Broncos are a good team. They are a very good team. So losing to them is not a bad thing. It's the way they lost. It's the bad thing. Go ahead, Al.
All right. So a lot to unpack. There's some great takes there. I'll go. So let me start by saying this. I believe what Denise said. It's time to fire the offensive coordinator. I don't believe it's pressure. I believe that everybody is hanging their heads because of the elephant in the room. The elephant is we have to get rid of this bad play caller. And I don't know what to say because if I say something, it gets put in the media and it gets blown up like I'm a bad teammate. Okay? I don't think anybody wants that anymore, so they hang their head.
Yep.
The morale is bad. It's Nick Sirianni's guy. People love Nick Sirianni. It's his guy. So he's not firing him. Nothing's going to happen. So it's like, I don't know what to do but hang my head. Now, the defense. I think the defense is second to none. I also believe that they got tired on Sunday. The offense was 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Pass the ball, pass the ball, pass the ball. Clock stops. Defense got to go back out. It's hard to keep stopping anybody. I don't care how good you are. It's just hard. You're out there longer than the offense was.
Right. Okay,
that's 2. So, offensive coordinator got to go. I think the morale's bad because you can't touch him. You can't say anything about it. Now let's bring it full circle to A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is saying, I need to be a part of this well-oiled, this Ferrari. And I'm not just the windshield wipers on this Ferrari. I'm like, I'm part of, I'm either the gas or the tires. Or I'm something in this car that makes it go. I believe he's just saying, get me the ball so I can give you more to offer. I'm not just a route runner. I'm not taking up space. I'm not even a decoy at this point. We have Saquon Barkley. We have Devontae Smith. Like, we have a bunch of guys that could be decoys. I'm not the decoy. Get me the ball. Get me some touches. Now, here's another take. I don't believe they may not believe in Jalen's arm like we think they do. I believe these guys run routes, and then like the route that he ran where he slowed up this weekend. They said he slowed up because he didn't think. Well, people are saying he slowed up because he didn't think he was getting it. When you don't have confidence that your quarterback can get the ball out there, or he's not even going to see you, you slow up. Now, back to this. So to my another point about AJ. So I believe they don't have confidence in Jalen like we think they do. The offensive coordinator is bad. The defense plays too many snaps. Saquon Barkley this year has not been getting the ball like he should, but when he's been getting it, he's been getting stopped behind the line. So I get it. It's hard to keep doing something and getting the same bad results. So you figure you got to do something else. Now, I say all that to say, A.J. Brown, you are a man. You are a grown man. You can't blast your team like that on social media. Y'all have to talk behind the scenes. I think him and Jalen need to get better communication because it seems like there's something there. They need to get better communication. But if you know what, if he feels like he needs to go, they might have to let him go. I don't want that. I really do not want him to leave. I think we need him bad. I think we can get this going. I think this loss will be good for the season. You get that one loss a year, or those 2 losses that just everybody, they probably have meetings now because they got to come back and turn it around Thursday, which I think is a good thing. They don't have to sulk in that loss. They can come back and give the Giants some work, which we're going to do. Going to blow the Giants out. I don't know, so you heard it here first. But AJ Brown, I think they're gonna right the ship. This offensive coordinator is everything that's wrong with this team, and you can't say something. You can't say anything because the head man has put him in charge. So, and when you want to honor command and you want to honor rank, you can't say anything. You just gotta believe that the leader is right and put your head down and show up for practice. So, AJ, I'm with you. But you got to be a little bit more discreet. You can't do social media games. You can't do that. Just be honest with the media. Tell them what it is, while covering up at the same time. So we got your back, AJ.
Lot to unpack.
Yeah,
A lot to unpack.
Yeah.
So, overall, I mean, let's be honest. The Eagles, they got some issues they got to work out.
A lot.
Yeah.
And like I said, the pressure of being the defending champions, I think that's part of it. I think we all touched on some of it. Again, the head tongue. Like I said, it's pressure. O says it's the offensive coordinator. Like, man, what are we supposed to do?
Morale.
Morale. Denise said, man, like we got this horse out here, we're not using them. So. It's some things. And I think, you brought up a good point about the defense. The defense they were out there too long, And I was watching First Take last week, and Chris Canty and RC were talking about when they were in DC. No, not RC. It was Big Dog. What's his name? I come back to me again. They were talking about when they were in DC. And how they were playing on defense together. And they said, what's it like when your offense is inept? And you got to go back out there on the next 4 downs because they're not going to get nothing done. He said, all you're doing is you're getting through the game. He's like, because you're going to be out there a lot more than your offense is. And so all you're doing is when you come off and the other team either scores or punts, you're just catching your breath. In about 3 or 4 minutes, you're going to be out there again. 3 or 4 minutes, real time, not game time, real time. You're going to be out there again. It's like, but what you don't want to do is you can't lose focus and you can't start pointing fingers while you're in front of the camera. And then behind closed doors, you don't want to point fingers, but you also want people to have accountability. Have some real conversations. And so, just like any organization, you got to have conversations, And while you touched on Sirianni's not going to fire this guy, and he's this guy, and you got to be respectful, say the right things. That's not what happened in the WNBA. That's not what happened. Just talk about that real quick, and then we can kind of wrap things up. So, the WNBA, if you have seen or heard, because I didn't know until the day I saw it later of what the WNBA commissioner had said. And I'm seeing all this stuff in sports, and I'm like, what happened? Like, what did she say? What's all the commotion about? So when I finally looked at it, I said, oh, that's what happened. And so I'm going to say a few things, and I'm going to pass off to you too. And you can come back to this next show if you want to. But number one, there was a conversation that was had between one of the WNBA stars of the league and the commissioner. And I don't recall the player who said it, and you guys can let me know who that is. And she had released in her exit interview for the playoff game conversations that happened between the commissioner and herself. And she was basically quoting what the commissioner was saying in their meetings, which to a degree might have been were disrespectful and a bit derogatory towards league players. I'm not going to repeat those things here. But in saying that, the response from the commissioner was your typical, business hierarchy exec response. And then about a day or so later, Caitlin Clark came and had a press conference. She's still not playing right now, but her name was mentioned in this conversation with the commissioner. And for lack of better words, she said that this player who had this press conference,
Nafisa
Nafisa
Collier.
Thank you. That there was truth to the things she was saying. Now, of course, if she was giving us quotes from a meeting, I mean, I would say that she's being truthful. But then there was the question of leadership that came up. And so for me, number one, you guys can, comment on this. I am one who was not, I do not believe you put leadership on blast when you disagree or are frustrated or anything else under the sun like that.
Agree.
You can be frustrated, you can be upset, you can say what needs to be said in a respectful way. But when you put your leadership on blast, and not only on blast, but you put out private conversations you had with that person, that is a no-no. Now, I know there are people out there saying, oh, well, she told the truth. Yes, but the truth you told were the private conversations that were had, and now this has happened. It's almost to the point now where, as the leader of the WNBA, how can you now remain when now this respect line has been crossed publicly? Floor is yours.
How?
I just think of it with the Donald Sterling situation when his girlfriend at the time leaked all his racist conversations and basically destroyed his career. It's kind of like, well, where do you draw the line here, and how do we handle that? And yes, she was wrong, and both parties were wrong in the situation, but do both parties deserve to be fired, or what should they do? And for me, I wouldn't say necessarily fire them both, but I think there needs to be some repercussions for this, because you do these just as hard for the NBA, but for the WNBA, like, you have to also teach these women a lesson as well of respecting both parties and respecting leadership as well. You address it off the court, and if that can't be handled, then you take matters into other hands. That's it.
Well,
Okay, so just to take I believe that, like, the WNBA, I think they're fighting a bigger cause,
definitely.
right?
Yeah.
When it comes to women's sports and women pay and women getting their brand out there a little bit bigger than it is. So again, I don't agree with blasting leadership, but I think this Nafisa was thinking, like, this is a moment that if nobody knows, they're never going to know. So I got to take this opportunity, and I'm going to put my career on the line and blast leadership. and look, she's causing a stir. And she's one of the league leaders and one of the league. And I'm talking about Nafisa, but she's one of the league leaders, and it seems like she's speaking for the broader league. You know what I mean? She's sticking up for everybody. She's sticking up for Angel Reese and sticking up for Caitlin Clark by saying, how can you justify these women making, what they make, and they're bringing all this revenue to the league? And the commissioner is like saying, well, if it wasn't for this platform, they wouldn't make any money. You know what I mean? So again, I don't agree with what she did by blasting leadership, but sometimes when there's causes, sometimes when there's a bigger cause, when it's bigger than you, sometimes you gotta throw the first rock and hit somebody with it that, it may not be the right thing to do, but it may spark a bigger conversation of, like, what can we do to fix this league as a whole before it dies? You know what I mean? So I don't agree with how she did it. Again, I don't think you blast leadership, but I think she went out on like a martyr. I'm going out on my sword. I don't care if I work again in this league.
Right.
This is it.
And this is it. And I'm gonna fire the biggest shot. They had that shot heard around the world.
Right.
She fired the shot heard around the world, and we're hearing it. So, like, hopefully they fix that with the WNBA, because we need it. You know what I mean? We got daughters, and I'm not saying mine's going to WNBA, but somebody else's daughter may be going. You know, so
Right.
I mean, I will say this as far as how she did it and what she said. And I'm going to go back to Charles Barkley for a minute because Charles Barkley always said, "I'm not a role model." Well, yes, you are. You didn't ask to be, but your position puts you in a place of a role model. And I think for Nikisha, like she's a role model, and so that is letting other girls know who are younger, who are playing basketball or in school or wherever they are. Oh, so if I got a problem, I can just blast somebody. No, that's not the way you go about doing it. You know what I mean? So again, there is a way. I don't believe that was the way to go about doing it. But again, like you said, she shot her shot. She stirred the pot. You know, but I think you could have put, just added some heat, but not add any salt to it. She added the salt. You know what I mean? And then added the pepper on top of it, and then did the mic drop and just kind of walked out. I'm like, okay, that's how we gonna do. But again, I think there is fault on both sides. I'm not going to say there's more fault on one than the other, but as far as leadership goes, and it comes to the WNBA, from a business perspective, the commissioner has done her job. From a business perspective, she has taken that lead from where it was to where it is now. From a business perspective, so there's no argument there. It's almost kind of like a Jerry Jones thing, and not almost, but it's kind of like Jerry Jones. Like the Dallas Cowboys are worth a buku amount of money from what there was when he bought them. And the Dallas Cowboys are constantly in the media because he's all about the entertainment part of it, right? But at the same time, you let go of Michael Parsons. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay. But in this instance, you're talking about a commissioner over an entire league, not an owner over one team. You're talking about a commissioner over an entire league. And so I think right now the respect factor is quickly dropping. And it may be, either there's a conversation that happens that can restore this, or there may be a change for leadership for things to move forward. So I don't know. I don't have the necessary answer, but I just wanted to bring that up real quick because, you talked about how, the Eagles talk behind closed doors and talked about it amongst ourselves. I'm like, well, that didn't happen in the NBA. I'm like, that's just like, it came out on blast. And, I'm not one to blast leadership publicly like that. And listen, everyone gets frustrated, right? Because let's be honest. Number one, they lost the game. Number two, the referees, according to them, weren't that great. And their coach went off. So it's compounded. And at that point, by the time she got to the press conference, she was already on 10. You know what I mean? So like her mom was probably pretty much made up what she was going to do and say.
Yeah, I'm firing this shot.
Right, exactly. So
whoever hits,
everybody can get it.
Right.
I get it. I understand it. I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
But I can't say what I would do in that position. I don't know. Would I have done the same thing? I don't know.
I think depending on the cause determines the shot. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, the cause determines what you're going to say, how you're going to say it. So, but again, there's a way.
There is.
And listen, we all can say she did it wrong, but until that becomes you, who knows, right? We can all give our opinions, but until you become the person that walks in those shoes, who knows? I think we all either have or will be there. It's kind of like, all right, should I really say this, or should I really scale it back and be more respectful? Because then you kind of think about, well, what if I was that person? Would I want someone to put me on blast like that? Not everyone thinks like that, but when you've been through some things and you've been through, some battles, you kind of think differently, you strategize differently. So, it could be a learning curve for everybody, I believe. So, all right, well, we hit the hour mark, and so this is where we're going to draw the line at today. So again, our topics: NFL season goes and woes. Will Shedeur Sanders stay in Cleveland? Can Joe Burrow stay healthy? And the Eagles and AJ Brown. And just to put a cherry on top, talk about the WNBA and what they've been dealing with over the past week with their commissioner and their players. So before we go, any last words, guys, as far as what's tonight? Monday Night Football. Who's playing tonight? I don't remember.
Hold on.
My son knows, but I don't remember. It's been quite a long day. But Monday Night Football's tonight. Once O gets it, looks it up for us.
Chiefs and Jaguars tonight.
Who is it?
Chiefs versus the
Chiefs and Jaguars.
Jaguars have the nerve to be 3-1.
Listen, I think the Jaguars can pull one out tonight.
Come on.
I think they can pull one out tonight. So we'll see. Big prayers out for the Cheetah, who got hurt last week with the Miami Dolphins. He's out for the rest of the season. I will say this though, and you guys can tell me if I'm right or wrong. It looked like he was happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like he was hurt when he got on the wagon.
Yeah.
And they had his leg up.
Wow.
And he was like clapping like this. And then he was smiling. And he was like, waving his hand up. And then you see him, if you look at his mouth, he says, yes. And I was like,
what's the new team?
This looks like he's about to be out.
What's the new team?
So I don't know. But again, we wish him well to get healthy.
Yeah.
All that stuff. But I just look at I'm like, this looks like he's like, hey, this might be the ticket to get me out of here. I don't know. Just noticed that. All right. No more topics. I'm not going to say anything else. Just threw that in there. So, again, every 2 weeks, Toddcast Sports will be on either Monday night or Tuesday night at 9 p.m. live here on our YouTube channel. Make sure you like and share the Toddcast Sports podcast. Let your friends know about it. Tell everybody else about it. We're going to be here every 2 weeks. And, talking sports from the fans' perspective. So, for myself, and Denise, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Go Birds.
See you guys later. Peace out.